But let's start with the Iran war. So everybody knows that the United States of America is in war now. And it's been there's been mixed reviews based on what I've seen when it comes to like the conversation around the war actually happening. I'm gonna give a timeline of things that happened since June till now, and then we're gonna discuss it and what potential causes could happen for United States of America, what this means for like the country as a whole, what it means for the people, and just like the Middle East in general as well too. So the timeline of events is June 2025. Israel and Iran went to a 12-day war. It was the first open military conflict between Israel and Iran. The U.S. bombed Iran's nuclear facilities, and then a ceasefire was brokered, but tensions remained at a boiling point. And then December 2025 came. The Iranian economic collapse and protest happened. And what that was the Iranian currency collapsed sharply. Massive protests began with shopkeepers in Tehran's Grand Bazaar. Demonstrations spread nationwide in the country. And then the U.S. publicly encouraged the protest in Iran as well. Then you fast forward to the new year, January 8th, 2026. The government cracked down. Iranians security forces launched a brutal crackdown on the protesters. The death toll was around 3,000. The Iranian government estimated, and then 30,000. And then 30,000 plus was reported by the Iranian healthcare officials. And then continue down the timeline. You go to February 13th, 2026. Trump's regime changes their statement. Trump declared a regime change in Iran, which would be the best thing that could happen based on what Trump was saying. And the day after, the U.S. military told Reuters it was preparing weeks-long sustained operations in the country as well. And then shortly before the strikes happened, a diplomatic failure occurred. And then is what everybody was talking about on February 28th, 2026. Trump ordered strikes to proceed, which was missile attacks, and then Israel launched simultaneous assassination strikes as well on their leaders. The supreme leader of Iran were killed along with other top officials, and then that ultimately caused Iran to retaliate. So based on just that, the timeline of events, like what are your thoughts on us even getting into war with the country? Things that we talked about in the past about we kind of foreshadowed this happening in an old podcast. I was listening back. We were talking about how this could potentially be a thing. What do you think that means for our country as a whole?
I mean, as we all probably know, we're definitely preparing to deploy some men.
Yeah,
sure. I mean, everything's kind of like you said before. We've talked about this in the past. It's just a build up, bro. Like I said, it's getting warmer out. The terrains are getting right where it needs to be so we can go to war. It's crazy how fast we're going.
Yeah, it's moving at a rapid pace.
Like you mentioned that before, like he's moving really fast. But I guess, like you said, is this all because like the files, or is this bigger than just the files?
I think it's bigger than just the files. Like the files, one piece it's important that we should be talking about, but I think this is something that's just as big, just on the opposite spectrum, if that makes sense. Like not opposite, but different spectrum. Yeah. Like, this is something that's gonna not only affect like what's going on over there, but affect American lives here on the home front. Like gas prices are gonna be ridiculous. That's like the lowest level of stuff. But like American troops are literally about to have foot on land. They're talking about doing an invasion in Iran, like putting troops actually over there.
No, real shit.
You know what I'm saying? And then we also talked about what would it take Putin and them to get into the war. Well, they just traded and gave Russia just gave Iran like some U.S. intelligence and stuff like that about what's going on too.
That's what I'm saying. And it's crazy. It's like, what do we focus on more? These files and this information of what's been put out, or men getting sent overseas, fighting. A lot of families gonna be set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which one's more important, you think?
I think they're equally. It's hard to say which one's more important because one is like a physical domestic thing that's going on within our country. Like when you talk about the Epstein files, our government being compromised, and like that's obviously affecting the American people directly on like who's in charge and what's going on. But then
what information's out,
huh?
Like what information?
Yeah, what information's out, and that's the people being exposed to certain things, and then nobody actually doing anything about the files that have been released. We really haven't seen anything else besides like obviously like Bill Clinton right now has like been like testifying and things of that nature, but like no arrests really have been made.
Right.
No one else has been brought to like trial to talk about the situation. It's kind of like in hindsight almost been slept on the rug, especially because like the whole Iran stuff that's going on. And then if you're talking about on the flip side, it's important because now we're sending troops to go fight a war that we shouldn't even be in my opinion.
Right.
We shouldn't even done like we shouldn't have dropped missiles on over there in Iran at all. It's another Middle Eastern country that we're destabilized. It's like Afghanistan and Iraq all over again. When it comes to like, why are we killing innocent people? Because I know if you saw one of the first missile strikes, it was a school with a bunch of little kids and stuff like that that really had nothing to do with nothing. And at the end of the day, it's like us as America, and like we know this because we talk about it on a daily basis, week in and week out, about how people are conditioned to just fight with this patriotism. American citizens are supposed are just going with what the government tells us. But I think this time, when it comes to the people, just based on the amount of information that we're accessible to, I think it's a big difference now.
Yeah, because before it's like you know, when like the Bushes and the Obamas and stuff, like it was an era to where it was like more tunneled. The information was tunneled. It wasn't scattered.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? To where it's like now social media is a motherfucker. Like there's definitely real information out there, but you don't know what's true and what's not true.
Yeah.
So now people can build their own like prejudgment and opinion to where it's like they're like, do I really want to do this now? Like, because it's like you said, they're second guessing themselves because what's going on, what's being put out there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
So it's just like, even like you said, Bill Clinton being compromised by a person like Jeff Epstein type shit. It's just like, yo, who's really running this country?
Yeah,
like because even I was watching the Julian Diori podcast, and the CIA guy was like, do you think like Jeff Epstein was just good at it and just picked out Bill Clinton first to like have him under his like pocket, so to speak, just by like, you know, having information on him or whatever? And it's just like, damn, that's a really good question.